stop it. Oh God, where is it? Oh, there he is. Hello, welcome to Beefheart podcast, episode 4, is it? Is it 4?
Oh,
Oh la la. Tonight we got the Spotlight Kid up against Clearspot. What should have been a double album? Should it have been a double album? Oh, who knows? Anyway, joined as always by our good friends, the Pemberton Walker, Mr. Alistair Aspinall. What makes you of these two records, and how the heck are you?
I'm all right. I like both the records. There's high points in there and there's low points in there. Yeah, there's definitely one that I prefer over the other.
Yeah, both of them came out in 72. Like we said many times, we won't do too much of the Wikipedia stuff, but both came out in 72. And both were somewhat an attempt, Don's first attempt at getting into the top of the pop charts, but pretty weird attempt to get in there. But lots of great stuff. Took me a little while to get to acclimatize to it after a month of listening to Trout, Mask, and Decals, but lots to dig into. DB, what makes you of this?
these are two quite interesting records. I thought I'd had this kind of pegged as the decline of the beef, when actually I like both of these. I think one of them is quite solid all the way through with no real like major high spots, and the other one has some really great stuff and some very head scratching, puzzling stuff, which you might expect from the beef around this time. But on the whole, quite positive about both of these records. Wouldn't work as a double.
Oh, well, let's get into that. Let's take a break about halfway through and talk about why, if that hasn't already popped up. But we can jump straight into it. As has been the case, the crew has sent their stuff through. The three of us plus Max, Leon, and Snare have all contributed, and a clear winner, and actually a second place that's quite far out of the rest of the crew. A clear spot, if you will. But first, let's go with the ones that did not get a lot of love. Any guesses before I play the 4 that did not manage to get a single piece of love?
So that what? There's four songs that didn't get any
4
points.
songs that got nothing.
Right, let me guess. Too much time.
Absolutely,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah.
the one with Christmas in the title.
There ain't no Santa Claus on the
Yeah,
evening
yeah.
stage. That did not get any points either. Yeah, good.
Long neck bottles.
Well, I got one.
Okay. I'll just leave with those two.
Okay.
Uh,
Alistair, any guesses at which ones other than Blabber? Sorry, giving away. Blabber and Smoke didn't get any. I was
Uh,
a bit surprised, didn't get any,
Too
but
much time.
too much times one. Dan said he's right, yeah, and I think absolutely proper 80.
nowadays a woman's got to hit a man.
Oh no, I got a few actually. I got not
Oh
not
no, no,
a
sorry. There's one that's clearly got none. If anyone's given this a point, then I'll refuse to speak to them. His crazy
for.
little thing.
Are you joking? That's like in my top 3.
I might have to reconsider my
It's
contract.
brilliant. It's basically a Happy Mondays song.
We'll talk. Well, I will read. I will
It
read my
takes me
live
up
comment.
higher than I should be, takes me up higher than I could
That's not
be.
how I heard it.
Crazy
Anyway,
little thing, you just gone crazy.
I went too
So,
keen on My Head Is Only My House. Is my only house, sorry.
oh yeah. Have you ever heard the Everything But the Girl cover version of it?
No, I have not.
Oh, I heard that today. It is very, very poor indeed. And I will make excuses at times for the girl. Um,
Golden
uh,
Birdies.
Golden Birdies. No, no, quite a few actually. Probably because that's the one that you reuses a track, a great part of a track from the previous
Yeah.
LP, right? Alice in Blunderland. Nobody gave it a point, and thankfully,
Oh,
oh, I
yeah.
mean,
My comment should have clued me into that actually.
that would have struggled to get on Camel's fifth album or a Focus B-side. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, too much talk, too much time. Let's have a listen to those 4 and let's really take them to town.
smoke. There's a big pane in your window, and all your wires turn to road. It's gonna hang you all, dangle you all. They know Santa Claus on the evening stage. No Santa Claus on the evening stage. I got too much time, too much time. I got too much time to be without love. Too much time. I got too much time. I got too much time. Too much time to be without love. In my life I got a deep devotion, wide as the sky and deep as the ocean.
Why you on Facebook?
Every morning.
Why do you need second-hand friends?
I knew it would make an appearance in this pod as well. That is dire. That is dire and not like the Straits. DB, coming to you first. Yeah, there's 4 tracks there. Yeah, Santa Claus, Alice in Blunderland, Blabber and Smoke, and that Too Much Time one.
Thank you. Yes, I'll read my comments and then I'll elucidate when necessary. Blabber and Smoke, I've got, and I wrote these really quickly at the time. This is on my second listen. I had another listen last night. Man, old Beefy's having sad sex again. Clownish marimba very much makes for a curate's egg. I actually didn't mind Blabber and Smoke. I thought it had some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Alice in Blunderland, I wrote a little bit blues dentist, tempered by marimba, eventually sucks. And then on a third listen, I added in brackets wildly. That's a really bad song. And like that, what is going on with that guitar at the end? Like who sanctioned that? There ain't no.
Freebird.
I mean, it's definitely Fleetwood Mac-ish, Freebirdish. It's wankatronics all over the shop, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, at least Steve Biko. Well, oh, never mind. I'm up with a
Oh, God.
wrong strand of the podcast. There ain't no Santa Claus on the evening stage is a voice note for a beer advert rather than a song. It's not awful, but I mean it's just not finished. It's a time marker. And then for
Yeah.
Too Much Time I literally just wrote Beefheart Van Morrison. And I am a big Van Morrison fan, but I don't want to hear Captain Beefheart doing Van Morrison or
No,
anyone else really.
no, I don't even want to hear Van Morrison doing it. I would say, yeah, exactly. So, this is he got Ted Templeman and Don Landy, who basically were Van Morrison's producers, engineers at that time, and the Doobie Brothers as well, which is why that's This is the schmaltzy end. Now he does, and you could argue that the schmaltzy end, when he gets to the other two big ballad ones, um, especially her eyes are like, for me, they're both doing similar things, but one of them absolutely nails it, and there's the Spirit of Beefheart, and this one is just, yeah, a
So
Van Morrison pastiche.
was this a single? Because I've not really looked into this. Also, because Clearspot is by Captain Beefheart. No band
The only
credits.
one, yeah, the only album, but
So is this part of like a repositioning by the label? Presumably not by himself.
I mean, through a negotiation with the label, but I mean, they jumped around again from labels. Who's this one on? Is this what label was Clearspot on? And they both came out like within like about 7 or 8 months of each other. It's on Reprise, right? Which is Warner Brothers, right? So
Oh yeah.
he'd like after
And
as is this
that's with Neil Young.
Yeah, I was gonna say
exactly.
that's Neil Young's record. So like 72, that's coming out near what? Gold Rush?
What's that was
No, that's earlier,
yeah,
isn't it? No, that's a bit earlier. Or is
Gold
it?
is Harvest is 72.
Oh right.
Yeah, an Exile on Main Street, Black Sabbath 4, first Roxy Music album, Transformer, Ziggy Stardust. That's what it's kind of rubbing
And
up
Too Much Time's
against.
right up there with all those records.
Alistair, what do you make of those four? Yeah, Blabber and Smoke, Alice in Blunderland, Santa Claus, and Too Much Time.
Well, it's a bit like the early rounds of the fall stuff. Like when you go like, no, it's like one of my favorite bands, and they're turning out something that's just like, I want to kill them all. What are you
Yeah.
thinking of? Um, but some of it, it's like, even though it's like dead AOR and kind of radio friendly, they stick bits in it that just kind of like, yeah, maul it up a bit.
Yeah.
Um, like the marimba from the start of Blabber and Smoke. That it kind of like makes it a little bit more interesting. It doesn't sound like it should be there for a radio hit. But you never know. Strange things have happened. What else did we do?
Well, we
That's fun.
got Alice in Blunderlands.
Alice in Blunderland. So yeah, a bit Zappa-esque.
Hmm.
Especially with the wanky guitar solo. Some great drumming in there. But yeah, yeah, you can't salvage it. I'm trying to look for something good in there, and it's just the drum for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, written off Santa Claus. Yeah, it's a double negative, so I'll get you points knocked off for that. But yeah, it's kind of just bluesy stuff that doesn't catch me attention really at all. Like there's other stuff on these two LPs that have got real hooks in there, where they're
Yeah.
doing nice things, and not much of that evidence here.
No, I've also just noticed that Max gave Alice in Blunderland 7 points, so it does actually have 7 points. It's in the bottom third, but he shouldn't have, so I'm overriding that. Um,
That's democracy for you.
it is. What I'd say, Spotlight Kid, we got Beefheart, we've got Bill Halker, Zoot on Rollo again. This is his third record. Rocket Morton, this is his third as well. For they both did Decals and Trout Mask. Drumbo's still there, and Ed Marimba. And then there is a winged eel fingerling who jumps in for Alice in Blunderland. I think he might be the one doing the solo there. Who went on, I think, to play with Billy Joel and others such as that. So uh, we really are hitting the heights here. But the interesting thing is it's almost exactly the same band that did Decals and Trout Mask Replica, and it's like a year later. And apparently they thought it was shit. They like none of them liked either of these records. Too slow, too simple. And can you imagine just spending 2 years playing and learning Decals and Trout Mask and then being asked to play essentially what is a bunch of like Howling Wolf knockoffs?
Unlearning your unlearning.
Unlearning all the way down. So for me, Blabber and Smoke and Santa Claus are both the kind of I quite like Blabber and Smoke. Santa Claus, I sort of like because it's playing at How Many More Times by Led Zeppelin or something like that. And Zeppelin pops up quite a lot in my notes here. They've kind of flattened a few of the notes to make it a bit wonky, which is cool. But it's a proper standard blues jam. And you know, if Howlin' Wolf had done this, you'd be like, this is a decent Chicago blues track. There's a few hints at something else going on. Blabber and Smoke, the same. But what I liked about it, like I think you mentioned, Al, is that big gap. Do-doon,
Oh yeah.
do-doon, do-doon, do-doon. And then there's like a huge gap of about 4 bars before they come in with that marimba riff. This is another one that I think giving it to a proper bluesman, and that says something because Beef's got a fantastic voice, but just like the last album sent me back to Tim Buckley and a few others, and we talked about this, right? This one sent me to Howlin' Wolf, and I actually listened to a fair bit of Chicago blues this week, which is not my favorite genre, but the Howlin' Wolf stuff, there's a lot of great stuff in there, and this is really close to it. This is a gateway drug to Chester. Too much time, absolutely awful. It's I think I'm so glad is the only other track in this whole podcast so far that I've disliked as much as this, and I might like that one better than this. Having said that though, backing vocals done by a band called the Blackberries. Um, any knowledge of these young ladies? They appear on Crazy Little Thing and this.
Did they make mobile phones?
They did not. They should have, but they featured on several really big records in the mid 70s, including Dark Side of the Moon. Look at the Fool by Tim Buckley, Asia by
Is
Steely
it Claire
Dan.
Torrey?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's that she and I wish you were here. So two huge Pink Floyd records, and also managed to sing Too Much Time and Crazy Little Thing. The two, in DB's eyes, at least, worst Beefheart songs of all time. Shall we rock on to the ones that got a little bit of love?
Yes, please.
So we will. I'm going to play you now Long Neck Bottles, a Glider, and Spotlight Kid.
Said the mama to the baby in the corn, you are my firstborn. Yes, your yawning Binola is the Spotlight Kid. In the morning cry the rooster, the baby lay alone. In the old kind of green grass, shed white tears in the red hot sun. In the Spotlight Kid stood under the moon that evening. Get window bare, yeah, rocking chair groaning like a grizzly bear. Into the sun in my bladder. There's a shadow beside her. Up and down to the blue. Up and down to the blue.
Alistair, we got
Hello.
long neck bottles, glider, and Spotlight Kid. What do you reckon?
Yeah, nice. Spotlight Kids. Kid reminds me kind of like, yeah, definitely where Tom Waits is coming from. That's his kind of like territory in my head. Um, yeah, you got that Ella Guru thing going on in it as well, which
Mm.
is, yeah, I wasn't like massively keen on that. But you know, you get used to it in familiarity. It's not breeding too much contempt here. But gets better as it goes on. Reminds me a bit of Colourblind James experience.
Right.
Yeah, but that could just be like with a marimba and you know the instruments that they're using. But yeah, don't mind that at all.
You got 5 points, a tiny bit of love. I mean, for me, the it's got that snooker theme tune stuff that popped up a few times on Trout Mask, but back then it was played like manic speed with 17 other instruments over the top of it. Here it's very much a slow and steady, like slowed down BBC theme tune. It's like I actually quite like it, but it would need to it could fit on decals, but it would need to step its game up to make it
It,
basically.
yeah, you could possibly scrape decals.
Yeah. What
But
about
yeah,
the other two? Glider and
yeah,
long neck?
Glider. There's nice harping and drumming and bass on that. Um, it'd be nice if the production wasn't quite as flat sounding as it is, but you know, can't win them all, can you?
No.
Um, Long neck bottles. Um, I don't like to talk about my women. It's what he's doing. Bit of a contradiction. But yeah, it's nice sort of like bluesy backing, nothing too offensive, nothing too adventurous.
No, I think this is another one of those proper straight up blues tracks that I'm just not really coming to Don for this stuff really.
It depends how
It's
it's done.
it's just a fairly generic Chicago bluesy thing. It's got very little to it. However, playing it back to back with the other two, you do get to see how the production does step up on the second record on the Clearspot. Yeah, Glider, I actually gave this. I moved it down my list through the week, but at one point it was quite far up because to me it's the Doors. It's basically very similar to. I mean, it's missing the keys, but it's got a very Doorsy vibe with a kind of jazzy take on the same kind of blues template they've done, and a very Morrison-esque melody going on. However, it doesn't quite, ironically, for something named after a mode of transportation, doesn't quite go anywhere. Um,
Like the one in Colditz Castle.
very much so indeed. Yeah, and Spotlight Kid, as I said, it's the snooker theme, and it just needs to pull its socks up if it wants to make the grade. DB, what do you reckon?
Well, the glider is a vehicle, but it's underpowered by its very
Right.
nature. It has no motor, and I think that's. I wrote Ace intro. Never gets more interesting than that, but not
Hmm.
much less either. I liked the way it started, and I was happy to go on the ride. But yeah, I didn't feel a great deal for glider, and yeah, the production across Spotlight Kid is weirdly like flaccid. I find kind of holds back a couple of the songs. Long neck bottles. I've got three comments that I wrote under this because my thoughts on it developed as with subsequent listens. The first one is nothing doing here. Second one is this is the worst harp noise ever. And then the third one, this is old grey whistle test proper music filth. Really
Absolutely.
just no, that's one of the worst ones for me thus far.
Not even
Spotlight
honking on that Bobo can save it.
not even honking on that Bobo, no. Was that Aerosmith honking on Bobo?
Honking on Bobo was the name of a recent Aerosmith album, yeah, but
Like a
I
live record or something.
it's something like that. But I'm pretty sure I've heard that term honking on Bobo before. If not, as soon as I read it, I knew exactly what it meant in all of its senses.
And then the Spotlight Kid. You say snooker theme. I wrote underpowered children's TV incidental music. Not enough direction or energy. And then the last comment I wrote, which was yesterday, was this is unappealing in a way that is hard to put a finger on. It doesn't, it's not a bad song, but it lacks something, but not because it's generic. It's because it's not quite a fully expressed version of what it is. And I think that's a problem across Spotlight Kid as a record. Like I say, it does have some real good high points. But yeah, Spotlight Kid, I mean, I wouldn't make that my title track.
No, I mean, in terms of setting up a new character and the guy on the cover being the Spotlight Kid, there's something to be said for it, just the same way as the Trout mask has his character, but he doesn't really go anywhere, so I'm not really sure. That little intro of Spotlight Kid is super cool and the only kind of spoken word bit we've had for a while. Honkin' on Bobo is the 14th studio album by American rock band Aerosmith. 2004, it's 20 years old. It's an album of covers of Delta blues, mostly Delta blues songs, including but
That's
with
exactly
one
the band I want to hear do that.
with one new song, The Grind. Maybe one day we will invest a
Smith
little bit
off.
of our time in Bobo off, but not Willie Bobo. We all know he's much better than that. All right, anyway, enough of this nonsense. So we then get on to the next round. We do pass Alice in Blunderland, which, like I said, Max gave 7 points to. He has given me a few comments, and here's what he said about that travesty of a track. I think that loads of the instrumentals on the latest Shiny Beast hark back to Trout Masters, and I wonder if this is another one. It's a lovely bit of music. I think, had this been presented, I don't know if we'll ever do a Canterbury off. But if we ever were to, we'd have lots of stuff like that, which in that context, I'm like, oh, that's quite a nice Hatfield in the North Beast, second half of their album. But yeah, in this context, I'm afraid unacceptable. But let's have a listen to the Crazy Little Thing, your favorite, the Queen cover. I'm going to Booglarize You, baby, and Golden Birdies, Fill Your Eyes. Let's have a listen.
The moon was a trip on a dark hood, and they were driving round and round. Donald Willie told Weeping Nellie, I'm gonna Booglarize you, baby. I'm gonna Booglarize you, lady. If I can find a place to park my machine out of town, and I'll slow you right down. You lose your push, ooh, tush. When you beat around the bush, if you act crazy little thing has just gone crazy, girl. How'd you get a name like Crazy Little Thing? Probably the name that drove you crazy all along. How'd you get a walk? How'd you get it all to move so slow and lazy? How'd you learn to talk real low like that?
Come on, Rowetta.
To where
She
it makes
takes
all
me
the men go
real
crazy.
high.
Heavy little thing has just gone crazy. The way she moves, there ain't no maybe. Talk way low like that.
I missed it
To
again.
where all the men go crazy. She brings things down lower than they should be. She brings things up higher than they could be.
Love it.
Those little golden birdies, look at them. and the mystic Egypt tassel dangling down. Old sleep.
It is that, isn't it, right?
Sound like a bubble.
That's right. Yes,
Must-
Horn Dog. Horn Dog Captain Beefheart. Here, Alistair, what do you make of Birdies, Booglarize, and crazy little thing that's just gone crazy? How are you going to get it, you crazy little thing?
Some that stuff in there. I can't find me notes for Booglarize, but that's probably one of my favourites on like those three. Just a really good groove going on with it. Um, crazy little thing. That's not my cup of tea at all.
You give it 10 points.
I did, yeah, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. I think I wrote "fuck off, Jules Holland." Yeah, well, no, I know I wrote that. And again, it's like give me Beefheart when it's a lot more sort of jammed out and a bit sort of like freer sound, a bit more crazy rather than this.
Ironically, than this crazy little thing, yeah.
It looked like you was enjoying it though.
Makes two of us.
Yeah. Golden Birdies, I do like. Nice marimbas in like when the groove kicks in, it's quite a heavy riff. I do like it, and the quite a bit sound a little bit mystical. Uh, yeah, it's better than the sort of like generic crap that you kind of see elsewhere.
I think so. For me, the only thing that did kind of hold me back a little bit, this is probably a bit unfair, was that it is essentially a rewrite of the second half of Ballad and Play, which I really, really liked already on its own. And I do think the lyrics lifted it a little bit, and I like that bit, that bass intro, but I wasn't sure if it was enough to justify me giving it too many points. But by itself, yeah, absolutely, it's a nice listen. Yeah, DB, what do you reckon to those horn dog tunes?
Well, I mean, my comments on Golden Birdies seem to step into line with you. I wrote noise rock carnage bass glued to outtake from earlier nonsense. I couldn't pinpoint it with the accuracy of you, but yeah, it's definitely that, isn't it? I'll do Booglarize next. I'm going to verbatim quote myself here. The horn dog returns, crepuscular bass. Is this why I come to beef? No. Do I like it? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'd always associate because there's a performance of this that's on a TV show, isn't there? And I'd always associated this with bad beef era. So I kind of
Right.
when this fired up, I was like, oh no, and I was like, oh hang on, is commercial beef good? And then I realized that this wasn't as commercial as I thought it was. Yeah, it's good. It's got a yeah, as Alistair rightly points out, really good groove. Kind of no one overplays. There's a nice bit of space. It's a good opener. It's a good opening track. I like it. Yeah, and it's yeah, and the Park My Machine bit. It's like oh,
Pull up
that's
to the
a
bumper, baby, in your big black
yeah.
limousine.
However, I feel like the thing we really need to have a talk about, and like this might be the future of me devoting my Saturday mornings to this filth. Crazy little thing. I wrote, the beefer invents Red Hot Chili Peppers, I die. I mean, this is a flip dip dipper away from being a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. Like, it's not Happy Monday's my arse. I love the Happy Mondays, but this is like, talk me through it. This is like, I think this sounds like really obviously quite embarrassing, and yet you're here like what fourth on your list? Talk me through this one, Brendan.
Yeah.
So, Crazy Little Thing was seventh on my list, but possibly could have gone up, and all it would have needed is a slight change in lyrics for me to raise it. And Snow gave it a couple of points and said, lyrics aside, um, yeah, it's clearly, your grandpa rapping. It's clear, it's clearly like
It's Grandpa Simpson, yeah. It's
just like your cow if you got one. It's like, but it's also so clunky and silly that actually after a while, it's like some of the clunkier Monday stuff, chicky licky, goosey loosey, hen. It's like it's like I just love Sean Ryder so much, and I love Beefheart so much that I will let him get away with this. Tony Kiedis, not so much.
How do you feel about me saying that this sounds like Red Hot Chili Peppers? Does that
I
affect
think
your view at
no,
all?
I think it's absolutely wrong in every way because I don't think you get the peppers the way I do.
You know,
Are you
I'm with Dan on this one.
I'm not a peppers fan.
Yeah, I hate the chili peppers, and I'm not that keen on. And it's that kind of vibe that they have about them that you can kind of hear in this song that I don't like. It's like a smugness.
There's a smugness. There's a great Pat Finity video where he talks about Danny California,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
kind of
he
he
calls him
comes to the
Tony Kiedis. That's what that reference
yeah,
is
like
for.
I like the bit at the end where he points out all the things that everything's ripping off, but the only thing that's bringing originality to the Chili's is Tony K.
Exactly, because Frusciante's just playing Hendrix over the entire song, right? He's literally
Yeah.
this is just a drum beat and Don, and then those inspired Rowetta style backing vocals. It's the only point in the album where the two of them sing together in any of these albums where the two of them sing together. They sound beautiful, and it's absolutely got you point me to a Chili Peppers track where anything like that happens. Sure, the first bit they're like, she was a crazy little lover girl. Yeah, I'll give you that stuff.
So
Yeah, but
Kiedis singing over a child's choir on Under the Bridge doesn't do that for you.
Aeroplane, Aeroplane as well, right? Actually,
Yeah,
those are my two favorite Chili Pepper songs.
I don't mind Aeroplane actually.
Yeah, I like Pleasure Spice with Pain, and music is my aeroplane.
That's better than Crazy Little Thing, in my view. I'm sorry,
Whatever.
this is yeah, this might be the worst one.
Honking and that goddamn Bobo. Let's go to. We've got about two sets of songs before we hit before we hit the showdown. So next up with 10 points is Growthins, 12 points, joint 12 points is nowadays a woman's got to hit a man, and my head is my only home unless it rains. We're getting into stuff that is undeniably post Chili's. Let's get to it. Oof. There we go. Honking.
Now here you come, baby, with your tail dragging the gravy. You know your P's and Q's, but what you don't know, baby, she'll giving me the blues. You got juice on, you give me a hug. You had my things all laid out by the door. I'm leaving. I'm gonna take up with a mermaid and leave you land loving women alone. Leave you land loving women alone. But they always been right there. Nowadays a woman has to haul off and hit a man to make him know she's there. You gotta wait for your woman, let her know you're there. I knew I had to go out and tell all of the women that I knew they were there. I'll let a train be my feet if it's too far to walk to you. If a train don't go there, I'll get a jet or a bus, 'cause I'm gonna find you. You're gonna see my shadow soon around you. In my head is my only house unless it rains. I've walked the meadow plains, while the deserts are my eyes until I find you. I won't sleep until I find you. I won't eat until I find you.
That's beautiful. How about this?
In my head is my only house unless it rains. I've walked the meadow plains.
No, Trace. Okay.
That's like Tracy Chapman.
It's Tracy Thorn.
Well, there you go.
There you go. If I may, first, I'm going to go with my biggie. My head is my only house unless it rains. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I put it in third. I don't know if anyone else put it that high. I'm an absolute sucker. I think this is if he was going to go commercial and do it successfully, this and Her Eyes Are Blue a Million Miles are absolutely the way to do it, because he absolutely nails it. It's great Van. It's Beef doing Van absolutely beautifully, and that chord progression in the middle, it's absolutely wonderful, like beautiful song. A wonderful song. Absolutely love it. Yeah, there's the instruments are snaking around each other, and you know, if the whole album had been the quality of this, it would have been having a whole different conversation. What else are we looking at there? I've lost it in my Girlfriends and Hitman. Hitman, although it's got some nice guitar work, um, guitar work. The guitar is nice. It's a really
Axwork.
really a concept is interesting about his bragging, like there's a William on the Airboy song or whatever about how all the women love him and how he treats them good or something like that, and it's the same thing of like, go ask them, go and ask them how well I treat them and how much they love me. I don't need to hit them. They don't need to hit me. There's no hitting going on because everyone is all great, but these other women, it's such a strange concept, such a weird brag and such a strange concept. But the music doesn't really do it for me. There's a bit of weirdness in there, but it's like residual weirdness from, you know, the previous two, which given it's the same band, it absolutely puzzles me. And Girlfriends, yeah, Girlfriends, like again, largely a blues jam, but he steps it up by a blues track. It's not a jam, but steps it up by the idea of him going to live underwater, which is great. Which again, as I pointed out in the chat, Jimi Hendrix had done several years earlier on Electric Ladyland with his when he said he was going to become a mermaid in the year 1983, which is also inspired. And I wonder how many other songs are about how you're going to go and live underwater and have a better life. But one of the highlights of the album is when he doubles up with that guitar on the bridge and he sings, "Yeah, woman alone." It's like, that's brilliant. Actual high point. Didn't give it many points, but that's because to a lot of other tunes out there. Yeah, DB, where you going with these three?
Well, Girlfriends did get points for me. Like I wrote sick melodic figure, quite creepy. Yeah, and like that theme that we've had over the last couple of weeks where it sounded like, well, we kind of briefly mentioned that kind of like trans thing and like in a more broad sense, or like the
Oh
hidden
yeah.
life of things. I like, yeah, I'm now thinking of it as kind of like animism, like kind of
Hmm.
the creatures and their lives and kind of like a more sort of earth creature centered view of the world. I don't know. I really like it. I think Growthins is great, and I know that I bet Al loves it as well. Um, Nowadays, woman's got to hit a man. I wrote the first time I listened to it. I don't know why I wrote this. I wrote no text. Then I followed it up with too much honking for me, Manish. Nice groove when it kicks into it, but it doesn't do a whole lot. I think it sort of like flails around looking for a connection that it never quite makes. Um, the other one was what? It was My Head. Yeah, yeah, this is good. This was on my list. This was only at number 9. I think if I rewrote that list, it might sneak up a couple of places. Like I wrote soft rock with some oddly knotty guitar. Like that is kind of a really unusual what we're calling it, like the bridge progression.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this, and I think it's because I was experiencing something with through Beefheart's music I'd never experienced before, which is, oh, this is, yeah, you're right. It could have gone this way, and it might have worked. It could have like become a bit too music school had he gone this way perpetually, and we should thank the lucky stars that he didn't. But here's, yeah, like a little view of a road we didn't take. He completely nails it performance wise. Yeah, I think this is a genuine. Is it a hidden gem? I'm sure big fans know of this song quite a lot, but
Oh,
certainly not
this
one of his
it's
more
definitely it's
famous
always
cuts.
cited for Clearspot, like, and a lot of people do cite Clearspot as his best commercial-ish album, and this is often cited up there. This is one of the few that yeah, I came across pretty early. As soon as I started going outside of Trout Mask and Safe as Milk, this song
Sure.
popped up. Yeah.
So when I listened through the Beefheart kind of discography in my early 20s, this did the square root of fuck all for me. And
Mm.
now in my early 40s, it's doing quite a lot. And I think it's a really lovely song. So it's one that maybe maturity brings or just being an old codger brings. But
Oh,
I
I
liked
think
it a
so.
lot.
Yeah, I don't think that I would have had very much time for it back then, even though I loved the melody, but I didn't. Yeah, and but what I'm interested in is how much of this, which, like I said, is for me the most successful element of this album, carries over into the really reviled, uh, unconditionally guaranteed some degree, especially Blue Jeans and Moonbeams, which is only a couple of years later. I'm interested to see if any of that carried over, or whether it's a different kind of smolts. Maybe it's the Too Much Time stuff. So I can't. My remembrance of those albums, other than a couple of songs like Party of Special Things and things like that, is not detailed enough to kind of work this out. But yeah, did you mention all three of them there, DB?
Yep.
Good, good. All right. Alistair, what do you reckon? Two Gruffins, Hit a Man, and My Head, etc., etc.
Um, Bloody hell. My head, really don't like it. Never liked it. Don't think I ever will like it. In fact, I wrote down that I hate it, and I don't hate much. Um, the drums are just so fucking boring. Um, I couldn't play that. I just there's no fun in it. It's beyond metronomic and just there's no characters, nothing there that lifts the song up at all.
Ooh.
But nowadays, one's got to hit a man. If you ignore the lyrics, which I'm very good at doing, it's a really, really well written song, I think. I mean, Dan mentioned it's kind of like going all over the place trying to find somewhere to go. I think it's a perfectly well composed tune. It's like
Cromulent.
some complex percussion, which is what I like to hear. Really like the snare work going on. You get some really good grooves, and you know the guitar complements everything perfectly. And when it comes into that big slidey bit, oh yeah, that's nice. I'd say I'm not too keen on the sax in it though. But you know, apart from that, I'm not going to be overly critical. And Dan was right. I do like Growth Ins. Yeah, it's dirty bluesy stuff with a bit of marimba. But I think again, it's the production that lets it down a little bit again. But it does with the rest of the LP, I think.
Yeah, yeah. What's interesting, what's popped out to me is stuff that I see as pretty straight blues with a bunch of people, myself included, are not really into those straight blues, but we've all seemed to tagged at least one of them that's got fairly high in our list, whether it's When It Blows It Stacks or Woman's Got to Hit a Man, yeah, Grow Fins, Circumstances, like those ones for me that are very like pretty standard bluesy. It's weird that it seems like one of those is randomly or like attached itself to us. Less so with me actually, but I did like a lot of them. Yeah.
I
I
think
don't know.
Kes got the bluesy ones quite highly.
Well, you put Circumstances and When It Blows It Stacks is second and fourth place and Hit a Man in fifth place, which I'm putting those down. Leon had Circumstances in second, and Snur had it down in fourth. It is a great tune, and we will come to it because it's obviously scored quite a few points. But for me, it's a straight up Chicago blues song. You could literally just give that to Howlin' Wolf and he'd do it like that's my comment on that one when we get to it. But DB, do any stick with you when it blows it stacks? You give it 7. You and I will get the same points, which is where we go to next, actually. So last 2 tracks before we get to the playlist is When It Blows It Stacks and White Jam, which was my second place track. Absolutely love it. Reminds me of Royal Trucks. And not the Peppers, but the Trucks. The good 90s. Know what you were doing under that bridge. All right, let me find it. I'm losing my way here. What am I even looking for? Come on, give me a hint.
When It Blows It Stacks.
They're both on Spotlight, kid.
They are, aren't they? If I was more with it and if we were more with it, we could have, doing a bit of an analysis to see. I'll do it now. I'll listen how many tracks from Spotlight Kid made it, because it is, to most people's mind, the weaker of the two.
When it blows, it stacks. 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 She ain't nowhere to be found.
こんにちは先輩。
When the wolf's close, well, we're down. Fill the blocks out, fill the down, hill around. Hot only women in town. Hot. Oh, smokestack lightning, shining just like gold. Don't you hear me crying? Ooh, ooh.
can't resist it. Can't stop myself. That the fact that those two songs so heavily reminded me of both Howling Wolf and Skip James, who were, Skip James in particular, I love. I was just like, yeah, why not? Why not play the Punchers 30 seconds or so? Go off and have a good listen. Alistair, what's your take on these two tracks
Well, the Howling Wolf thing that you was going on about, I can see it
going
from
on
a
about?
vocal and guitar perspective, but it's the rhythm. It's that's one of the things about well, the drumming with the Magic Band when they get it. Well, it's just it's done. John French, amazing, and he will get like it's his own take on things. It's not just doing like a standard sort of blues drum beat. He's really sort of like smashing up in little bits and pieces in there that like work. They stick together, and really complements it. But yeah, like Jam, it's it sounds a bit kind of like a bit like some of the middle of the roady stuff on it, but it's a bit weird. It's got like that spikiness to it. It's all right. It's not one of my favourites on there, but when it blows, it stacks. That's one of my favourites, really. It's kind of normal in a bluesy way, but then gets really fucked up. Mostly brilliant. Drumming again, brilliant. The guitar is really nasty, and it's that really heavy bass as well. It's just you got a bunch of amazing musicians really nailing it.
No, for me, there's a bunch of those Chicago blues across these two albums that could make a really good standard blues track, but this one, what differentiates it from some of the others that scored lower is the guitar. And a bit of the rhythm, but especially the guitar. There's some really wild, nice stuff going on, but they're starting to bury it a little bit more. Not, I mean, the production buried it in the previous stuff, but it's kind of buried a bit. We talk about Craig a lot as
Mm.
once you pass perverted by language, you start to lose him a bit, even though he's actually doing some really cool stuff. I see that, right? I think they leaned more into the bluesy aspect and turned down the weirdness, which is why the White Jam, it stands out. It doesn't fit this album at all. It fits something earlier, possibly even Strictly Personal era. Um, it's got the reason I said the Royal Truck stuff is because the top line, the guitar and stuff is really wonky, but then the bass and drums are actually holding it together pretty well, and the vocals are wonky and they're all over the place. And then he does that Skip James voice, which is the only time I've heard him use that across any of the stuff, and it's really nice. People talk about Don having a 5-octave voice, which I'm suspicious of, but there's at least three, possibly even 4 octaves going on between these two songs. I mean, he's straining and squelching all over the place, but it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely a really good one. I'm probably over defending it because I don't think it's scored highly in a lot of people's charts, and it kind of appeals more to my indie-ish nature, but really enjoyed it a lot. DB, what do you reckon? Stacks and Jam?
So Jam was at number 10 on my list. I
Mm.
wrote, I like this, I think. Lopsided balladry, emotional bass work, tails off. He means come, right?
Oh, maybe he does. I hadn't thought about that. I actually did think a little bit about what White Jam could be, but given how horny Don is, it can't really be anything else, can
The
it?
first four songs on this album are a suite of horniness. Because
Licking
when it blows
decals
its
off. Yes.
yeah, when it blows its stacks, which I put at number 4 on my list, I wrote slow sensual jam. Never has one man been so on the verge of nutting in a song. But I actually like that in this sense. I'm not trying to kind of cheapen my response. Like he's really kind of taking you somewhere almost like agonized with his kind of groaning and moaning and
Oh yeah.
stretching things out, which he does quite a lot on Clearspot to really interesting effect on some of the pots on some of the songs that I presume are going to be in the playoffs shortly. He does some
Hmm.
really interesting stuff, and yeah, this is a favorite of mine. Yeah, I really loved it. Really loved
I,
it.
Did because you're not a blues man, right? You've said this
Not
before,
really,
yeah.
no.
But you're yeah. Was there anything about that that kind of you that didn't sit well with you, or were you like, or is there a strain of blues that you can get
It's
on
more
board with?
strains of blues, right? I remember like I had a sociology teacher at Winstanley College. You may have had him. You went to Winstanley, right? Oh no,
No,
actually no. So and his
the
name's Mike
deanery.
Atherton. Mike Atherton, not the cricketer. And
Yeah.
he was a blues guy. Like he had a blues band, and I saw them a couple of times, and they're really
Hmm.
good. And he kind of like as part of his sociology, he would try and sneak blues into it, which is mad. And
Ah,
he played a video of like it was like a documentary at like a juke joint, and it was like Junior Kimber, and it was like really simple rocking
oh
blues. And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, this is great. So like I think it tends to be like mutations of blues, mainly done by white blues dentist inspiring guitarists. Whereas like the stuff where it's just kind of like a great rhythm and some like horny vocals or some depressed vocals. I quite like that, you know? So I think when Don leans closer to that or really, really, really kind of nails his own style, but that there's this uneasy middle ground where he's sort of like he's a bit Robert Plant, he's a bit early 70s rock guy, which is a kind of a guy I'm not that into.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good segue into the showdowns. We are into the top seven. One, as I said, was a clear lead. Um, but we're going to look at the ones that came in fourth and fifth, which is Horizon Blue Million Miles with 27 points and Clearspot with 31. So let's have a gander at those two.
I have to run so far to find a clear spot. Sun's all hot and a rotten hot. Swamps all rotten and stinking. Vegetation's hot. Sleeping in a bayou on a old rotten cot. Can't find my kind of folks having fun. I have to run, 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 run to find a clear spot. I look at her and she looks at me. In her eyes I see the sea. I don't see what she sees in a man like me. She says she loves me. Her eyes, yeah, her eyes. Her eyes are a blue million miles. Far as I can see.
I am an absolute sucker for a descending chord pattern. Absolutely. I scored this top, Horizon Blue Million Miles. This is probably one of like not just probably my favorite Beefheart song, but like well up in my favorites. And I don't know why, because this sort of like Doobie Brothers-esque sort of like yacht rock, blue-eyed soul doesn't really do it for me that much. But there's just something about that. The fact of the chords and how the guitar snake around and Don is just like absolutely nailing it with the kind of emotional vocal stuff. It's yeah, it's properly beautiful stuff, and I don't think it gets much better than this. Whereas Clear Spot is a great tune. It's got a absolutely great riffage going on that Joan Osborne had to pay because she stole it so blatantly in one of her 90s singles. But that's for another day for the Osborne cast. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love the just the rhythms of it, and it's a beautiful pop tune, and it could have again appeared with some minor adjustments on either decals or even strictly personal. So it's kind of harking back while not repeating anything. So I think and that bit where he does the bridge, the run, 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 and there's that really wonky note that really stands out, and it's just beautiful. It's like, on Trout they did that by throwing everything at you, that atonality, but here they got it like they just perfectly hit that wrong flat note halfway through, and it does a lot of heavy lifting. It's really a sweet tune. So yeah, DB, where you at with Clear Spot and Her Eyes?
I like both of these. They both made my list, and I agree that the subtleties actually make for a stranger listen in some respects than some of Trout itself. Um, Clearspot I wrote, this is a fun stomper, intricate between the common time rollicking. Like there's lots going on between the spaces, between the gaps. I really enjoyed this one, but I mean, this most successful song is Horizon of Blue. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, as it develops, like it does something that no Beefheart song has done to this point, to my mind at the very least, in that like it develops both a tenderness and a strangeness. Like it doesn't quite follow down the path of a blue-eyed soul balladeering kind of it's identifiably Beefheart, and yet it's kind of more in the kind of the quote unquote commercial realm, but it remains just that like little bit inscrutable, a little bit, and I think it's a genuine song as well. And I think maybe I regret not putting this higher, but I also think that there's two songs above it are also fantastic. So this
Hmm.
is, yeah, Beef Art like on a real kind of finding his mojo despite singing so much about it and wishing he was working it.
It seems like Don's a bit more of a softer heart than he likes to give on because he's way more convincing when he's singing this love stuff than when he's horn dogging it.
Just more generally, like I relate more to the, and we can talk about this in later weeks, to the Beefheart persona as a frail man who's clearly got an ill. Like I actually think that's really more him and his kind of like I think he was sort of in this arms race of like rock singers and personas,
Hmm.
where I actually think when he just kind of like accepted what he is, I think that's where he became like truly beautiful and truly eternal. At some points, he just sounds like, I don't want to say another guy, but like he kind of makes concessions that you just wish you could put your arm around him and say, Don, like, Horizon, that's you. Like, like Alice in Blunderland is, and sorry to say it, crazy little thing, it's not you, mate.
Well, if only, all I can say is, Dan, if only you had been around in 1972 in
Yeah.
California with just that arm around the shoulder, that's all Don needed. You're not Jim Morrison, mate. You're not Howling Wolf. You're Hall and Oates. Lean into
You,
it.
yeah, you grew up in a caravan in the desert, like, just be that guy, like, you know.
It's weird in the way it's weird in the way, and I'm spending like saying a lot because if he doesn't go through, this is the last chance to say anything about it, right? So it's like it's weird in a way the best Beatles songs are weird. It's everything about it feels like you know it and it's doing exactly what it should be, but nothing is doing it's all unique. It's doing stuff in a way that you wouldn't think about something like In My Life. It's so predictable, it's so cheesy, it's everything about it you should, but every time it does something unusual and weird and strange, and that is very, very rare, very hard to do. And like I said, I don't think he did it again in the career, as far as I know. I think this is the one-off, the big one for me. I have played my cards. I have delivered my white jam. Um,
I think he does manage this a couple more times, to my mind, and we'll
okay,
see in
we'll
later
see.
weeks. But
Yeah.
because if you remember, in week one, I said there are two songs that he had that should have been bigger. We've not reached the other one yet.
Okay. Alison, are you're not a ballad man. You're not a blue-eyed soul man. You're not a Hall and Oates man. You're a hard rocker, and so you clearly. Uh, Benefit of Clearspot, but you only put Clearspot in the middle of your list. So where do you stand on, yeah, these two?
Her eyes are a million blue miles. It's it's sort of cheesy, but it's really nice at the same time. I think if you took the vocals away from that'd make a really interesting instrumental. I think it's like really kind of psyche. Sounds more like something that they might have done in the late 60s. And that could have had commercial success. It sounds very competent. Clearspot, I really do like. It's this sort of what makes Beefheart better than Zappa. It's a completely different approach. It's like weird timings, and they're nailing the bluesy stuff as well with the mad percussion. It's a lovely little package.
I think Clearspot, like stuff like Decals, really the percussion really elevates it above just another wonky kind of track. And I think if it had gone on to Decals, it would have been a standout track. I think that for me, there's a couple of things, Sun Zoom Spark and Clearspot. It shows that he wasn't really quite sure where he wanted to go with this album. Those two would have been outstanding on Spotlight Kid. And it's weird that given that this stuff seems to have been written around the same time, that they didn't make it on there and they were held off for this more commercial record. But it's time to vote anyway. So I've already played my hand very, very clearly. Her eyes for me. Which way are you going, Al?
Clearspot.
Indeed. DB, you get the choice.
I'm going to go Her Eyes by quite a long way.
All right, a million miles, maybe, would you say? Yes. Ha ha ha. Did the band tell you that? All right, so let's have a look at...
It's like being an episode of Frasier.
Swimmer fatigue. Let's go to next. We had the track that came in third, which was Click Clack. So only just a point above Clearspot, and Circumstances, which was just slightly below Her Eyes or A Blue Million Miles. Just to be clear, Clearspot did beat Her Eyes by 4 points, but justice has been served. So Circumstances and Click Clack, take it away, Don.
Two trains, two railroad tracks, one going and the other one coming back. There goes my baby on that old train. I say, come back, baby, come back. Clack, click, clack. There's my baby waving her handkerchief down. My ears stand up when I hear that.
Walking in the park just the other day, baby.
Watch you find out the circumstances, then you can go out. Oh, yeah. Once you find out the circumstances, then you can go out. Whoa, yeah. Little girl, don't you know that the stars up above are running on love?
damn fine honking. So we got I'll have to double check. The first one so far from Spotlight Kid, which is Click Clack. Everything else in this playoff so far has been from Clearspot. Up against Circumstances. Alistair, you put Circumstances quite second in your list and Click Clack in third. So this is a big showdown for you. Which way are you going? What do you think of these two?
Well, obviously, I'm quite a fan of both of them, really. I think they've got something quite in common, which is, again, it's with the rhythm, but it's like that mechanical kind of rhythm, the sort of like the railway sort of sound,
Yeah.
which then set me in mind of like stuff like the Monks, like which just like these pounding rhythms, and how they're kind of like inspired a lot of the industrial stuff. But it's that kind of like relentless pounding that's going on that's really good. And it's the perfect sort of like backdrop for what you've got with the bass to make up the rhythm section. Some of the timing's great. Again, click clack with a 3/4 piano, that kind of thing, and the harping. And there's a nastiness to it, a bit like in something like Ashtray Heart. And again, it's the groove that they're getting into. Well, let me just find my notes for the next one. Circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, more mechanical railway shit with more harping and doing some woo woos in there. Woo woo. Yeah, it's really good structure, building up, dropping down. And despite the production, the groove, comes across quite well. Could have been a bit nastier, but I'm quite happy with it as it is.
Yeah. So Max weighed in on these two and he said Click Clack, that bit where the drums are out of time and then they aren't is musical witchcraft. Um and the Circumstances he didn't weigh in, but he said this about Clearspot. The guitar and the intro, flipping egg. The trapped inside a mixing desk design of the cover reflects the new, more advanced production of this album. Compared to Zappa's field recording technique on Trout Mass Replica, although prefer to Zappa, he would have probably made it sound even cleaner than Clearspot if the band had let him. And I'd love to hear that album. Well, actually, that guy Ant-Man B seems to have just done another 2026 remix of Trout Mask. And now with the AI stem splitter, surely it's only a matter of time before we have high def versions. And the only thing that will be making a noise is Don spinning in his grave. Um, Dan, what do you make to these two?
I think they're basically the same song. Click Clack, I think is yeah, right. It's a cool, straight ahead bluesy rock. Love the rhythm switches. It's been a long time favorite of mine actually. I
Okay.
remember getting this off Napster in like the early noughties, and it's just,
Mm.
I've always had it as an MP3 on my phone. Never turn it off when it comes on. Circumstances, I guess it just feels like a slightly more crowty version of it.
Okay.
In fact, I put a link in the chat which you didn't acknowledge. It sounds a bit like, and this is a later song, the Hey Colossus
Refused.
song,
Refused to
Refused.
acknowledge.
There's a Hey Colossus song called English Flash, which basically sounds like it but nastier, which maybe will be right up Hal's street if he's interested. I think the thing that like made me not put Circumstances in my list is not liking it. There's two things actually. One is like I don't think we need two of the same song in the list, so I just picked my favorite, and that slightly like hee-hawing harmonica breathing kind of thing doesn't quite do it for me. But it wasn't. If I were being honest, 100% honest, it should have made my list, but I just didn't want to put two of the same song in.
I think Click Clack stands out for the more obvious train rhythm, which obviously ties into the lyrics as well. And it's, to some degree, that can be a bit corny, a bit hokey. And even just having the obvious train, because the guitar's playing the like whistle of the train, and then you've got that kind of weird, it's so close to Misty Mountain Hop, and they were released and recorded like almost the same time. And I actually asked Sam Smith, our resident Beefheart expert, we couldn't quite work out if they'd ever crossed paths. Had one of them heard the band play one of these? Knowing there's two ways I think about it. One, knowing Don's band, they might have just heard it and picked it up. Knowing Zeppelin, they might have just straight out stolen it as they did with Stairway to Heaven. Um, uh, and all that shit, and Killing Floor and all that. So who knows? But they're very, very similar, and I love both of the tunes. Do
So there's also culturally, this seems to be when like things like Mardi Gras, I'm talking about Click like here, and things like Mardi Gras are very much part of like counterculture because it's like going down to New Orleans to get herself lost and found, which is clearly
Okay.
we're in that sort of post Easy Rider kind of
Mm.
thing. That's film brain working here. So yeah, like I like that it's you can sort of see how it sort of suggests Beef is actually, I mean, obviously it's not a sincere lyric about his real experiences, but he's like outside of that. She's gone. He's like at the other end of the railway line, waiting for her to come back. But if even if she does come back, she's going to be changed.
Yeah. Whereas I would say I think Surface This is just a better blues tune. I think when I was scrolling through the Howling Wolf, if that had popped up by him, it would have gone straight to the top of my kind of Wolf tunes. That got me thinking a little bit. It's like because we shatter love or I shall love a Tom Waits for being essentially a lighter version of Beefheart, and also Dr. John, who in my Spotify is still playing. I'm listening. I'm having a good listen to the Dr. John, and he's down in New Orleans, and he's leaning more into that kind of thing. None of them get close. In fact, a bit of this crosses over to the more weird end of Dr. John. Like I Walk on Gilded Splinters is big, the big one. You'll know it from Weller.
Of course, yeah.
Um,
I only know that one Dr. John album. Is it
but not
Grease?
The Night Tripper is well, that was his name. Gree is the big one where he's wearing the kind of
Yeah,
voodoo kind of stuff. Yeah.
I like that. Am I wrong too?
Who am I to say? But I mean, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I don't know. It's quite nice stuff. It's like if some of that had strayed onto this album with a few tweaks, I don't think we would have noticed. Kind of we would have been singing its praises if Don had sang it, basically.
Part of the problem I had with getting to take Dr. John seriously is because he kind of had a bit of a re-emergence, didn't he, in kind of Q magazine and Jules Holland in the late
Yeah,
90s.
yeah,
So you associate him with that sort of like corny middle-aged man music. When actually I think Grigri is, despite you not being able to get away with that these days, is sounds fairly, I hate the word authentic, but it sounds like it comes from a sincere place.
yeah, you'd like to think so. It doesn't seem like a cultural appropriation in that sense. It's not a Gwen Stefani. It's much more of a it's much for a Marquis Smith
Are you
doing
referring to a
Dallas as
cover of
it goes.
Talk Talk?
I am. Um, let's have a list of the A Colossus song while you're thinking about which one you're going to go for, because it's a tough choice for a couple of you, less so for
The
me.
circumstances bit comes in about probably about 40 seconds.
All right.
Maybe a bit odd.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
a
the
little bit on.
video version. Again, it's nice. It's got a good, it's a dirty, nasty, bluesy jaunt, isn't it? But the real question is, Alistair, which way are you going?
Ooh, circumstances, I think.
Oh, la, la. Which way are you going, Dan?
Click clack.
I feel I'm letting you down here, Alistair, but genuinely in my heart, Click Clack is the one. Right now, I don't know if another few months, another few listens, if circumstances would have overtaken it because it was starting to make its way up. But Click Clack's the only one that got in my list. Circumstances didn't make it. So Click Clack, I'm afraid, has to go through. So her eyes and Click, you're not having a good night here, Alistair, in terms of getting stuff through. But
Uh,
there you go. Let's
yeah.
let's let's uh let's say you'll at least have one big win coming up, but not just yet. So that takes us to what came up in second up against what came down in seventh, the final showdown. Do you want to have a guess what might have come second, thereby giving away what came first?
Sun Zoom Spark.
Alistair, what do you think came second? Any ideas?
Oh no, go on.
It is
What
Sun
was that
Zoom
about misery?
Spark. So it is
Okay.
Sun Zoom Spark. Earlier, Dan, you said we talked about whether it should be a double album, and I said I would try and find some time, which it hasn't popped up. Do you think, given that the materials were at the same time, etc., this should have either been a double album or whittled down to a single album using this batch of songs?
I rarely think a double album is a good idea.
Hmm.
I think also I mean, if they'd all been recorded in the same way, i.e., in the Clearspot way, that might make it more interesting. But I'm happy for these to be two single albums. I'm not. The more Beefheart, the merrier. The fans all seem very happy with these.
I mean, our list here is heavily shown that we think Clearspot is a better album. Basically, um, yeah, these top seven tracks, six of them are from Clearspot. Yeah. Al, do you think it would have functioned better as a would he have had more commercial success that he was after, or would he have made a better record if he'd have whittled it down to the best 10 or kept it as a sprawling double?
Well, I think it's perfectly fine as it is. No need to mess around with it, what kind of works. And I prefer them as separate LPs because, like I said, I like them both, but I do have a favourite.
Yeah, well,
And
I
I
guess
prefer to listen to the favourite rather than the ones that I don't rate quite as much.
having said that, how familiar were you with these two records? But we had 3 weeks this time, which was good. I kind of benefited from that.
I,
Yeah,
I became aware of them in the 1990s. It'll be like somebody's got a copy on cassette, and I
yeah,
was like a magpie, I was just going around copying stuff. Yeah,
yeah. Similarly, I knew them both, and I had them. I think I still got my both of them back in the house on vinyl, but I definitely hadn't listened to them anywhere near enough as I had with some of the others. Safe as Milk and Trout Mash, for example. There were more of the songs on these records that I didn't particularly know that much about. Where did you stand, Dan?
I'd heard them both in full in my early 20s, which is about 20 years ago. And when I put them on, I was surprised how little I remembered.
Yeah,
But there were
yeah.
snatches that were indelible. So, and they're the ones that seem to have crept upwards.
something that stands out, well, makes certain songs stand out to me more though, is whether or not the Magic Band played them.
Okay, like when they were played live the years later and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So Al, which ones of these did they tackle?
several. Let's find the list. Damn. Got the wrong way. And
Because
running out of
because
power on the phone as well.
because they're not credits. Well, they're not in the name of the
Yeah, they did.
title
They did.
on Clearspot. Did they do those?
They did Big Eye Beans, Circumstances, Click Clack, when it blows in stacks, Hitman, Clear Spot, Sun Zoom Spark. They might have done Growthins.
Hmm.
They might have done Booglarize. They might have done Golden Birdies. But I definitely remember the ones that said that they did. They definitely
So
did.
so just to be clear, Al, they didn't do Crazy Little Thing.
I don't recall them doing that, but they might have done on the gig that I wasn't at.
I think the fact that their name isn't on that album, I don't think that makes any difference at all. I think that's purely just for whatever marketing they were trying to push.
Because Captain
Um,
Beefheart is less of a mouthful.
just prioritizing the man.
Just gone crazy, girl. How'd you get a name like crazy little thing? Having a name that drove you crazy.
Oh, it really opens up live.
Oh, I get it now. Oh, now I get it. Um, it's just those tight snares. I can't say no to a tight snare. Um, So that takes us to that showdown, which is Low Your Stuff against Sun Zoom Spark. There's quite a bit of a difference. There's a 30-point difference. So on paper, Low Yo has got its work cut out. But let's have a listen, shall we? Both of them, of course, Clearspot numbers.
Fast goes fast, slow goes slow. All right, now do the low yo 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 yo. Now do the low yo 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 yo. Like that girl standing on the corner, right to the other side, went way down deep. She knows all she gotta do is move her pretty feet to the. Nothing makes it move from the bottom to the top. Does it start at the bottom or does it start at the top? Make it Johnny from dark. Sun Zoom Spark, Sun Zoom Spark. Now which hand's got it? Bottom or the top? Neither hand's got it. It's just got it.
And the lovely cowbell work there, or whatever it is, the clave. Yeah, sweet stuff. For me, YOLO stuff very similar. Interestingly, that just like Booglarize, they open because they're both kind of like funky-ish jams. Similar deep bass, so Booglarize has obviously a deeper bass. This one's kind of lightened up with the marimba and stuff. It's the kind of Latin-ish rhythms, and I guess it's Art Trip on the doing the old percussion stuff on there. I think by this point, if I am correct, Drumbo had gone and doesn't play on Clearspot at all. Clearspot's got a new bass player in Mark Boston, Rocket Morton's on rhythm guitar, and Zoot Horn is on lead. Ed Marimba's doing all drums and percussion. So Drumbo's not on any of the Clearspot stuff, which is interesting. We haven't talked about this much. Now, obviously, they're both very competent like drummers, and they could both handle all of that stuff. But it does seem like they are more straightforward rhythms, even though they're still rhythmically like pretty complex stuff. For YOLO, and then the Sun Zoom Spark, yeah, he brings out the whiny nasally voice he hasn't used since Beetlebones, I think, and it's always fun to hear that. Yeah, I think the rhythm, and you said it's a little bit like Smoke and Mirrors for me. There's not a huge amount to the track, but the percussion and the kind of vocal kind of tricks here and there make it seem like there's more to it. And again, it's another one that would have fit really well on one of the earlier albums and seems less of a fit on this one, but still it's a sweet tune. This one's not as easy for me as it is for some of the others. Some of the others of you who have scored Sun Zoom considerably higher. Yeah. Al, where do you stand on Sun Zoom, which you put in your second place, and then YOLO, which you put in oh no, Dan, you put Sun Zoom second, YOLO in fifth. Al, Sun Zoom you put down in about seventh place, and I don't think Low Yo appeared on your list. It did not.
No, it's not one of my favourites, that one. Don't know what it is about it. Just kind of a middle of the roady kind of feel to it. Even though it is slightly edgy, it's one that they might get on the radio with if they were lucky. But Sun Zoom Spark, I really like the really tight drums on it that kind of like give it that energy to it, and it's really well constructed. everyone's all over the place, just pissing all over everything in a very good way. Yeah, I like it, catchy.
Indeed, DB, where do you stand?
I really love both of these. Sun Zoom Spark, I wrote, this is more like it. Jittery, oddball, butt shaking. Really fun, flavorful, tangy, effervescent piece of music. I love it. I really like low yo-yo stuff is growing on me actually. I wrote the horn dog is back, much more melodically interesting, and I love, as I alluded to earlier, the way he's kind of like his voice is like stretching and doing that kind of like he's doing some new stuff here, and like I really appreciate him not kind of resting on his laurels vocally. Two great tunes. Like I wouldn't be upset if Yo-Yo went through, but I did have Sun Zoom Spark at second.
Yeah, Leon had Loyo quite far up, as they also did with Sun Zoom Spark. I think nobody has put Yo Low considerably above Sun Zoom. We've all scored Sun Zoom pretty high, which is why it was quite far ahead of the third place. I think it was 10 points ahead of the next. More than that, 10, 15 points ahead of the next one. So again, on paper, yeah, he was the while we're taking our final votes, here is for the people at home as well. If you want to see what our scores actually were, and from this, it should be very obvious at this point what has won. You only need to look at
Wow.
the like what people said. Like, yeah, these are my ones that I didn't score, but we've uh got a good selection of peeps throwing their votes in the ring there. Yeah, anything jumping out at you?
The near unanimity for the winner.
Pretty much. I mean, it was fifth for me, and I think everybody else put it top, right? Um, but let's take the vote first on these two. Yeah. Al, you've already kind of suggested which way you're going with Sun
Yep.
Zoom, yeah? And Dan, which way?
Happy to join Al.
Yeah, me too. Sun Zoom Sparky easily. And that means that Big-Eyed Beans, he does love his beans, doesn't he? Beans pops up quite a few times through, both in their literal sense and also he likes to make that play on words about beings, right? It's a Donism. Let's have a bit of a listen to Big-Eyed Beans and then we shall have a quick chat before we call it a day.
Distant cousins, there's a limited supply, and we're down to the dozens, and this is why. Big-eyed beans from Venus, oh my, oh my. Boys and girls, earth people around the circle, mixtures of man alike. Big-eyed beans from Venus, don't let anything get in between us. Beam in on me, baby, and we'll beam together. I know we always been together, but there's more. Mr. Zoothorn Rolo, hit that long lunar note and let it float.
Fade it out so it sounds like it's lasting forever. Um, I do love that part. It's one of the few wacky things that we get along with the spoken word intro to Spotlight Kid, which I do miss from the Trout Mask days. Those weird asides. But yeah, I absolutely stormed it. Like, what did he get in the end?
58.
54, maybe 58, yeah, 50 odd points, 10 points above Sun Zoom, which in itself was 10 points above Click Clack. So it's well, well above. But DB, yeah, what's your thoughts on Blue Eye Beans?
It's a savage riff. It's Psych Fury beef. More like that, please. I get the feeling that the next two records are going to be full of stuff like this, right?
Full of it, like chocker. half of it on the blue-eyed beans and the other half on better versions of Ariza of Blue Million Miles. Yeah. Oh, where do you stand on big-eyed beans?
It was the one that stood out when I first heard this LP. You just going like, what the hell? Yeah, there's some great rhythms in there. All the snare build up, like the holding the note, and when they get into the grooves, it's like, you know, it's quite brutal. I really love it. Still love it all these years later.
I mean, for me, I love it. But I love it because it's a Led Zeppelin song. And I can't
Mm.
exactly put down which one it is. Something off House of the Holy or, Physical Graffiti. That kind of late era where Page is he's doing something a little bit outside of the standard blues riff. It's very Zepp, but Don nails it. Yeah, very, very sweet. And the only reason I didn't score it higher is because I was probably overcompensating on some of the others, but I do love those ballads and I did love White Jam. So this is didn't appear quite as high on mine, but it's still like fourth or something. Yeah, a great tune. It deserves to go through. It deserves to win probably in the sense that it's the big single. It's the big hit off it, and you guys are mostly greatest hits lads, right? So
Well, you
yeah,
say it was guys, but Al seems to have disappeared.
well, it's no woman, no crying. I'm not surprised that he's run away because he's been called out as the glory boy he is, whereas I would, let's just
Deep
say,
cuts O'Leary.
crazy little thing will get its day in the sun. Let's just say that. Um, Alrighty, well, I don't know if Alistair will come back. It's obviously he hasn't paid his gas bill, and so what we will do is we'll wrap up here now. Not in real time. Sorry, in real time, but not in podcast time. Next week we will launch round four. But by the time you hear this, don't get your hopes up because next week after this show, we will not be launching round four. It'll be some random fall episode from months ago. I'll play us out with a tune, and I will remind people who are still around that Click Clack, Horizon Real Million Miles, Blue Eyed Beans, and Sun Zoom Spark are going through to join the other tracks in
What I've
the
really enjoyed about this so far, Brendan, is that what I want has happened nearly every single week.
I think part of that is, as I've said, you always go for the most obvious tracks.
Yeah, that's it.
But no, but
Well, next week should be interesting then because of the lack of obviousness.
this point forward, actually, I'm far less knowledgeable. Of course, the combat ones, yeah, I do know, but these next few, Electricity, Candy Corn, Surface Milk, Dropout, Boogie, Moonlight, and Vermont, Big Joe and Veterans Day, Poppy, Ella, Garou, Smithsonian, Flash Gordon, Dr. Duck, Petrified Forest, all through. They're not all. They wouldn't have all appeared as the most obvious, but the big boys have gone through at this point, and rightly so. Let's wrap it up with some of Alistair's Beefheart theme tune, and maybe I'll never be able to stop it like I couldn't last time. So where would it be? Where would it be? Look at all these here. Look at all these. There we go. Beefheart theme. All right. Take it easy.
Ta-ta.
Not playing though, is it? Whatever. There you go.